Since post-it notes don't make for great ninja stars that stick to walls, and attaching them to sticky hands doesn't work very predictably either, many of you have asked me to walk through how I made the intro for each season of Two Truths and Trash. Some of you also questioned whether the trick shots are fake. Well, I'll go through all of that in this video. Starting with season 1, which was pretty straightforward, except some people mentioned it took them a while to realize this first part was actually in reverse. Placing post-it notes one-handed while keeping the camera steady was too clunky to work well, which is why doing the whole scene in reverse was better, starting zoomed in on the letters and then removing the already perfectly placed post-it notes as cleanly as possible. That allowed the reverse to look smooth and be sped up while still allowing you to read the words on each. Once I got back to the letters, I transitioned with a jump cut to the start of the trick shot clip, which wasn't much of a trick shot since it was such an easy toss. The toaster clip was pretty easy too, and I just needed the right angle to read the words and get a good jump from the toast. Perfecting the speed of all the clips and polishing the audio, and I got the final result.
2 of the following videos are true while the other one is trash. Can you spot the fake?
Next, season 2 was slightly more complicated. As mentioned, post-it notes make for terrible ninja stars that don't stick to the wall. So I first started with all 3 post-it notes placed on the wall where I wanted them. Then I took off the last one and threw it many times, trying to get one where the toss went as close as possible to where it was just placed on the wall. Then I can show the clip of me throwing it, and right before it reaches that spot on the wall, I can do a jump cut. But of course that jump cut would remove my hand, so I needed to mask my hand back in to make it less suspicious. Since this was the last toss, I also manually moved the hand out of the frame. This is the most obviously edited part of the intro, but everything's moving so fast you probably didn't even notice. That was just for the last one, but I of course did the same thing with a bunch of throws for the first 2. Next, for the trick shot, I actually tried a few different things at first, but wasn't super happy with the shakiness and how out of frame they each were. That's actually the hardest part about this juggling. It's not the juggling itself, it's doing so while holding the GoPro in my POV and trying to keep everything as centered and in frame as possible for editing it into shorts. And yes, of course, this trick shot was legit. Lastly, you probably already knew this, but the fake banana was just some crumpled up engineering paper that was taped. Once again, speeding it up, polishing the audio, and matching it to the voiceover, and I got the final result.
2 of the following videos are true while the other one is trash. Can you spot the fake?
Now let's move on to season 3. Once again, sticky hands don't allow you to just slap sticky notes to the wall, so I'm sure you're thinking the intro was reversed. And yes, it of course was. However, did you realize it's 2 separate clips for each post-it note placement where both of them are reversed? That's because you can't just put the post-it note on the wall, attach a sticky hand, and pull off. Because then, although the entrance looks good, pulling away the hand also pulls away the note, sort of like a boomerang. The fix was rather easy though. Before I got the clip removing the post-it note from the wall, I just needed to swing the sticky hand and land it on each post-it. When that's reversed, it removes the hand. I had extra tape on the post-it note to keep them flat on the wall, so I had to remove that before the next part, which was firmly sticking the hand to each and yanking the whole thing off. When reversed, that gives me the shot throwing the note on the wall. Then it jump cuts to the other reverse clip to remove just the hand. I did that for the other 2 post-it notes in the same way, and since everything is sped up so much to match the audio, I'd say it comes together relatively good. Oh, and before doing the other 2, I also placed the trash sticky note back in the same place and filmed crumpling it up and bringing it in front of the lens. That meant I could jump cut at the end of the reversed clips and transition to the trick shot. I honestly kind of regretted adding this transition because for every attempt, I had to start with the ball in front of the lens. That normally wouldn't be too bad, except this shot was by far the most difficult and took way too many attempts. I'd like to think I'm decent at baseball, but this bat is just so skinny and you really need solid contact with the post-it note ball for it to go anywhere. I deleted most of the footage for this, but if I remember correctly, it took me a couple of hours to land this shot, and I even got a stomping noise complaint from running after the post-it note ball so much. Even more frustrating was the fact that I actually hit this shot twice before I got the actual clip that I used. One was the day before, but it went up just out of frame before going in, which I knew meant people would be skeptical that I actually made it. I also made it early on the second day, but that one bounced off the ceiling, so it was the same issue. Regardless of the struggles though, I'm not sure it's possible to get a cleaner hit than the one I ended up with, so I was quite relieved. For the final clip, one of the quarters was a fake magnetic quarter, although that was hopefully obvious. Here's what it looks like with everything put together. 2 of the following videos are true while the other one is trash. Can you spot the fake? So there you have it. I thought it'd be fun to break down the intros as we get ready for season 4, which is coming soon, and we'll of course have a new intro. I just released marathons of every season, so check those out if you're interested, and if you want to support the making of more, consider buying my Two Truths and Trash Science Trivia Deck. Thanks for watching to the end, and I'll see you in season 4.